I'm not going to give you the ding-a-ling countdown. You all have to give me a sign that you're in the chat and you're ready to kick off. Show me a sign. We're waiting for a sign that we actually have some chatters to yak to. Hello.
I'm sorry if I got a little feedback coming in. I don't know what's going on.
Radio. I can't hear the hello. Oh, now I can.
I'm sorry if I got a little feedback coming in. I don't know what's going on.
Hey, Matt. Hey, Natasha. I can't hear the hello. Oh, now I can.
I'm sorry if I got a little feedback coming in. I don't know.
Hey, Matt. Hey, Natasha. I can't hear the hello. Oh, now I can.
I'm sorry if I got a little feedback coming in. I don't know.
Whoa. We had some stuff going on there, didn't we? Okay, I got you back now, Cam. Sorry about that. Hello,
it's okay.
Aroa.
Is it
Hello.
still echoing?
No, we're good now. I think it was partly actually me doing some of that.
Okay.
I went over to check how many chatters we actually got there because it doesn't show me in Restream. So, yeah, echoey loopy loop. Hello, Wendy. Sorry about that, guys. Looks like Cam's leaving and coming back. So, yeah, got a special with us today. It's Cam, and he's just going to have a yak with us about a couple of different topics. So, geez, so much happened while I was busy making that video. So, the things that happened, the Valo Daybell recordings were released. That was nuts. Hang on, let's get Cam back in. We gotcha. Are you good now?
All right, good. Sorry. Yeah, I'm here. Sorry about that.
So I think it was me that was doing that to you. Hey, I apologize.
It's all good.
So, yeah, so we got the Laurie Valo and Chad Daybell recordings. Oh, sorry, the Laurie Valo and her family recordings from the shooting of Charles Valo. We got the Dirty Laundries who go out searching for a publicity stunt. We've got the interview with Don on the behaviour panel. So I don't really want to go into that too much until the behaviour panel actually do their little analysis on it. I've got a feeling I know which way they're going to go, but yeah. So those are the topics that we're going to run down today. And oh, excuse me. Oh no, you're going to have another day of choking on the coffee. Hello, Lady Blue. So yeah,
hey everybody in the chat.
A little rundown for today. We've got 11 in the chat at the moment. So how is Ali today? Is she around?
Yeah, she's right here. You want to talk on?
Hey.
Yeah, put her on. Hey Ali, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. How was work today?
Oh, it was work.
Work.
It was okay, I guess. It was just busy.
Yeah. Well, we really appreciate the fact that you're on the front lines over there and how much of a grueling task that must be for you. And
thank you.
I hope, yeah, so hopefully you can just sit back and put your feet up tonight and yeah, you don't even have to worry about what your hair looks like.
Yeah, exactly.
About your, I was trying to explain to him about your how y'all's shortage of nurses are making you have to pick up extra patient load.
Yeah, it's been tough. I don't know what's going on, but we don't have enough nurses at all, so we're having to pick up at least like 2 extra patients a piece per nurse, and we don't have enough aides, and it's just a mess.
Why are you short staffed? Just out of curiosity, allowed to talk about it?
I I really don't know. I think that it's just there's a nursing shortage across America right now, and I don't know. A lot of nurses became travel nurses, so they'll go all across America and work at different hospitals. But
Yeah.
I know that all the nurses are not traveling, so I don't really know what's going on.
It's interesting. Like I think we're doing all right. We've got like another wave. We've got the whole Delta wave happening here at the moment, and
Yeah,
I
us
think
too.
the lockdown sort of help with that. But I don't know that we're having all that much of an issue with staffing. I haven't really seen anything in the news about it. So yeah, it is interesting because like you've got such a huge range to choose from in nursing, and we've got sweet bugger all.
Right. So, and I don't know if it's nurses like in the doctor's offices and stuff, or if it's just hospital nurses, but we are definitely having a shortage. So, and I don't know. I think that COVID has a lot to do with it.
Right, a lot of them don't want to be catching it, and they have families and stuff
Right.
at home, so they don't want to be on the front
Exactly.
lines. Yeah, and also probably what Aroa says as well, so that could be part of it. But yeah, so there you go. Yeah, as I said, we're downs again. We've got it's sort of ramped up. We thought it was gonna we thought we were all gonna get called out of lockdowns and everything was gonna be cool, and then our store down the road, like they moved their little desk so that we can actually go in the store again. And then I went there yesterday and they're back with the desk again. So things are just all over the shop at the moment.
Yeah, it's been rough in this area. Like she's over there. She had to feed the kitten, but I was gonna say basically like I watch her. She used to be able to go to work and come in, and she would be halfway like be able to function. Now she comes in and it's like immediately asleep or like yeah she sits down, she's asleep. I feel sorry for her because she's done, she's put in work. She's been at this hospital chain, which has become a monopoly in our area. This is the only hospital you can go to. It's the only option you have here. And they I don't know, it's just they overwork them. They don't want to do uh they don't want to give them the benefits that other hospitals give, and it's just. But I mean, really, around here, she's like in this area. That's one of the best jobs you can get, and you got to hold on to it. So
Right.
it's just the way it is.
There's a lot of nurses
Absolutely.
and going to work for factories.
Well, tell them what you said just now. If they didn't hear, you got to speak up a little bit.
I just said that there's a lot of nurses that are actually leaving nursing altogether and going to work for factories.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Okay. Fair enough. That yeah, I think there's a lot of reasons behind it. Like I don't think there's any one reason behind it. Like I'm pretty sure that there's nurses who voted for the Republican Party who don't support the whole mandates issue. I think there's probably another, broad range of them have families at home and don't want to be exposed on the front lines. And yeah, as Wendy Knox points out, some take the money for what do you call it? Money for the traveling work. Sorry, I didn't
Yeah.
scroll, and aides don't make nearly enough. So yeah, I just want to say to Ali that Natasha M was saying Ali puts in overtime on her time off. She puts time into their channel, searches for summer, hangs flyers, and is a mum. Thanks for your dedication, and I second that motion.
Yeah.
Thank you.
She really is. She's amazing. She does a lot, and like I really we all here at this house. I know I can speak for us. appreciate all the work she puts into what she does. And somebody, never mind. I'm not even going to go into that. But it is there is. I saw people talking about the vaccine mandates and stuff. A lot of they're trying to bring it in where they and I'm not going into the views about that or anything, but they go in and they try to force people to to get it done, or they can't have a job and they have to do this and that, and that's pushing a lot of people out. It's
Yeah.
It's a personal health.
Yeah, because people feel as it's a personal health choice, and I'm not, because it'll be a lot of controversy, so we're not here nor there. That's just the truth about what. That's not, that's what it is. That's what's going on.
Yeah. So yeah, it's such a wide range of issues that America is facing. I don't think we're facing so many of those issues here in Australia. We seem to be sort of all on board with what our government is saying and trying to follow what our government is saying. But I can quite clearly see that America is very divided in that sense. So yeah.
Right. And that's why, regardless of I guess that's why I'm saying we're just gonna stand here neutral on that view, because that's, we have our views, believe that. And it is
Yeah,
I will say that I do believe.
YouTube.
Do
Sorry.
what?
We're
No,
not
I was
allowed
just
to
saying it
express
is.
our views on YouTube.
Yeah, you're right, exactly. And I'm not gonna go in that. I mean, people in the chat can talk about it, but we have to stand neutral and not address that. So, but besides that though, uh, it is, people. I don't know if I've explained my situation with it too. Somebody attacked me on our comment channel one day, and Allie went completely off on them in the comment. They were like, "So why don't you? What do you do, Cam? What are you doing?" She was like, "Oh, you don't even like," because no, but I haven't really told about my situation very much on it. I got the reason I was let go of my job is because they felt like I was a safety risk to the place because of what my wife did for a living during COVID. And it in my job, in my occupation at the time, it really, I'd worked there for a long time, and they had worked with my schedule as how we were able to be able to not have to pay for somebody outside to watch my kids, because if we know anything from the content we make, that it's really hard to trust strangers with your children these days. And
Right.
it worked out very well where I worked and where she worked. At the days she worked, I was off, and the days I was off, uh, she worked. So we always had each one of us here with our kids. And the way that it went down, it was just not fair. And now we're kind of in a situation here where I'm doing side mechanic stuff, which people, I don't get on there and talk about, you know, like I've said many times, I give mothers complete respect, because being a stay-at-home mother or father is very hard. I did not know the patience that came with it. So,
Yeah,
but
certainly tries patience
yes, it does.
for sure. For sure. Hello, Clucken and Stevens, and who did I don't know if I've missed anybody else. I'm not sure. Hello, M. I am from New South Wales,
Oh,
in northern parts of New South Wales. Yeah, so yeah, well, one of the topics that we wanted to talk about today is getting ourselves some mod management, because you're at the other end of where I'm just starting out, and I can see that it's obviously something I have to look into and work out
yeah.
how I'm going to deal with it, because you guys sort of started with a few hundred, and then within a week you had thousands, and now I don't know, you're up to 7,000 nearly, something like that, aren't you?
Yeah,
So
it grew today too. Like, it grew amazingly today, and I was like, oh my gosh. And with the quickness comes the troubles, the stuff that people usually learn over a while, like we had to learn really, really fast. With the, there's politics to YouTube, and there's ways you got to. Yeah, we got a crash course. That's what Alex said.
You did, didn't you? For sure. And
Yeah.
I'm learning by your mistakes, if that makes sense, because
Okay.
I've only had my channel. I've only had my channel for a couple of weeks, and I'm socially dyslexic, so I'm absolutely certain I am going to piss people off. So I want to have it sorted before I actually get to where you guys are. And so, yeah, and I thought maybe we could just talk about, ways of managing it before it gets out of hand. So, Rob, I know things have already gotten hectic for you guys. Like, you've got your email address out there, and some people have your phone number. So you're getting emails and you're getting phone calls and you're getting all this stuff happening. In the meantime, you're still trying to go to work for Ali, and you're still trying to manage the kids, and you've got boots on the ground trying to hand out flyers and trying to be
Yeah.
constructive, as well as organizing the content that keeps our people coming and going. And
Yeah.
so when you have all those constant interruptions, and you've got to like go deal with shit that's not really your shit to deal with, it's just the social stuff, the social politics, it gets really hectic. And so that's what I thought, maybe we could talk about different ways of dealing with that. And and if you think anything that I'm suggesting is not a good idea, or you've got a better idea, let's do it now while we've got some mods listening and people understand actually where we're coming from. Hi Amber and hello Robin and hello Clucken. So so at this stage, like I think I need a manager before I get as big as you guys. I need a manager to manage the mods. and
Well,
and I just wonder,
I'll go ahead. Sorry.
I'm just wondering if that's something that you guys think will actually help you as well.
Well, yeah, and we are. I'll say this: we are working on that right now, because that's a great idea, and I'm not going to put anybody out there, but there's people that have stepped up for us that are trying to put things in a better spectrum. Like you said, I'm going to agree with something. Like if we're doing the things we're doing, and we have the life at home, and we have the content, and we both have to make a living too by doing, I do side mechanic work, she's the nurse. We're trying to both do searches when she's off, and putting flyers out and doing stuff to try to make a difference in this case. The worst thing you need during that time is to even hear about any kind of drama on YouTube, or what's going on here, there, or anywhere else. You have to, like, that makes it really hard to focus on the task at hand. So we really have had people, some good ones, rally around us and help us to address things, and try to just lay out kind of uh, a good, like, just what we expect of our mods. And there we have a certain person that really does. She tries to keep the mod, or the chat in. She tries to keep the chat to a general discussion of kind of what we're talking about. Um, welcoming members, welcoming new subs, welcoming people to the chat. Uh, giving links out to things that we're involved in and we're a part of.
Yeah.
We also are, that's kind of the layout that we wanted to go. Yeah, we want people to have fun in the chat, and joke around, and that stuff. That's all great. We like that. We just want, Allie, do you have anything to say better about it? This kind of just keeping it on an even tone, and not going way, like, it makes it real distracting sometimes if your chat is it.
And not blowing up and not blowing up your messages and your phone so that you can actually get the work done.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, and yeah, and amen to that. And that's what, and we've been blessed with great. Uh, we've said it a whole bunch of times. We got some of the best subs on and members and stuff on YouTube. We got a lot of the people that never really chat and commented that have came over to us, and they support us through thick and thin, and they've been there with us since the beginning. We always try to make an effort to answer every comment we get, to answer the emails, to give feedback. And we're not against, this is the one thing I'll add too, we're not against the difference of opinion. We welcome difference of opinion. We will answer your questions and the things that you want to say, or just discuss it with you. But what we don't tolerate is the disrespect towards people that are, there's no evidence to go towards, or saying hateful things to us. Like we use the one strike you're out rule over there. So, but I mean, I think it works, and I think it helps a lot.
To be honest, I haven't had to strike anyone yet, but so I'm at that point where I know it's going to happen very soon. But one of the things that I said to my mods on the Discord was like, I'm not going to judge if you want to get involved in the politics and the drama that goes on with, all the different channels and their different opinions. That's fine. Go ahead and get involved in it, but hand in your wrench before you do, so that it doesn't reflect on our channels. Because you're a mod on our channel, it means that we somehow subscribe to what it is that you're doing or thinking or feeling or whatever. So that was something that I mentioned to them the other day, actually, was someone asked me.
I'm sorry, I don't know what that feedback is. I'm trying to fix it. I'm not typing or nothing here. Let me see if I can get it to stop.
That's
Sorry
all right. So I said to someone had asked me, like, I just can't keep my mouth shut, and I was like, well, that's fine, but hand in your wrench first. Like, you can still be a mod on Discord. I'm fine with that. But out on the YouTube where it's full public, then go ahead and do it, but hand in your wrench first. Like, be aware that that's what you want to do, and that's how you feel about it, and hand in your wrench, and just be polite about it, so that we don't have to take your wrench and any sort of issues with you. But at the same time, you understand that it does reflect on our channel if you're a mod in our channel. So that was pretty
that's
much
true.
sort of what I.
Yeah,
Sorry.
exactly right. And we actually went through an issue, and I mean, people didn't understand, but we had to go through. We had some things happen with YouTube that we had to unmod everybody, because we had some issues where people. So we had, I don't know if it was a rogue mod or if it was something else, but we were instructed by Google services to unmod everybody. Find out where your problem is with people getting blocked. People couldn't comment. People couldn't do. Some of our content wasn't going up, and I mean, I tried to tell everybody we were going to do this. I put an email back that people could have wrenches back, and this, and I asked them, and some people said they wanted to resign. I didn't get some emails back, so I just didn't, I didn't give them back. I was like, well, if you didn't want to answer back, then I didn't think that somebody wanted it. But then when you don't give it back, then sometimes people think that you have hard feelings. I'm like, listen, I'm just following through with what I said. That's there. I don't have time to argue back and forth about stuff. Like, it's got to be this way, or it can't be nothing at all, because that's just the way you got to run your channel.
That's right, because it gets too many. Like, as I said before, you're up to 7,000 now, and you've just got so many people emailing you all the time. I mean, I don't have that issue just yet. I've got a lot of people emailing me, but it's not at the level that you're at right now. So I'm sorry about the study that you guys can hear. We do have a static issue on Cam's end, and I apologize for that. We haven't actually worked out why. It happened a lot.
Here, let me take my phone case off and see if that's what's affecting it. Because see, when I start talking, it stops. And hold on one second. Let me see if that fixed it. I took my phone case off. That might be what it was.
It could be some feedback coming from your phone case. If it's got little magnets or something in it. Oh, look, there you go again.
Yeah.
Just when you think you sorted it.
That? Here, let me move into a better service. Is that better?
Oh, that's heaps better. Well, as soon as we say something, it ends up doing it again. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I should have probably done it on my laptop, but I didn't have. I don't have. I don't have the link. It wasn't sent to me on there. But sorry about that, guys. If y'all can bear with us through it, hopefully it'll get better.
Yeah, no worries. So, hello, too many feathers. Audio has a T. Is bit of static and is a teeny scruffy. Well, pardon me. I apologise for the scruffiness. We probably both have issues. So I am feeding this audio. So Cam's connected to me, and then I'm feeding it out to you guys. And we do have some rainy weather coming and going at this end, and sometimes the clouds
We
actually
do
block
too.
my
It's
satellite.
storming here too.
Well, that might be what all the clackety clacky could be interference in your Wi-Fi.
Yeah, it started storming and thundering real bad. You know, that's the thing too that I didn't add, and I want to talk about that. I don't want to take it off subject, but you know, we went out today and went and did what we did over in Hawkins County, and was putting boots on the ground, and I mean, it was pouring the rain all day, like rain, snow or shine. We're going and we're gonna accomplish, you know, take certain areas out if we have, regardless of what the weather
Yeah,
is. So I mean, there is a
yeah,
big effort
for
happening
sure.
here, and yeah.
Now in wind 80 degrees in
Sorry.
today.
Whoops. I don't know why my TV started talking to itself, but it did. Yes. And whilst you are doing that, you know, the last thing you need is you know being sidetracked with all the stuff, because there's so many channels and so many different opinions. It's really too hard to like fiddle. You just got to stay the path from what you're doing and not get distracted by everything else that's going on, right?
Right, exactly.
So yeah, that's what I'm looking out for, guys. I'm looking out for someone who can manage the mods for me and give them a sort of a rundown on what we expect from the mods and what we expect from the chatters. And like Cam's rule is one strike and you're out. I haven't actually made a rule yet. I'm sure I'm going to get there where I have to. We actually have a real bunch of people who come to who come into the chat, and for that reason I'm able to put the chat on the screen. I'm able to screen the chat to, you know, the to anybody who comes to watch my lives after the fact. Hello, Jenny. And so because everyone is so kind and caring and we're sort of all on the same page, it just makes it you know, it gives me something else to put on the screen besides my ugly mug. But yeah, just having a good crowd sort of that come to your channel is awesome. And I mean, you just can't control that once you get up to the numbers that you guys are at.
And I will say this too, though. I'll be very honest about this, and they might come even harder now, but due to that policy that we've had, I always set my chat on slow mode, and I make it 10 minutes before somebody can even subscribe and comment or even chat. But you know, due to our rule that we've had, man, we don't get a lot of it like we think that we're always prepared for it, and it usually runs pretty good. And that's because if you
Yeah,
don't tolerate it, and you don't have to worry about it. They know already. They know, well, if I go over there, it's just not going to last but a second. So
yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, well, I'll have to go and work out where all those bits and pieces are, because I haven't worked out where all those bits and bobs are. You're actually ahead of me in how to operate some of that stuff, because I just don't have those issues yet. So I'm sure it's going to be a crash course when it happens.
Yeah, it will. And you guys, you know, if I will make a point too, we're going to get you we're gonna get you up there. I'm gonna go over and I'll actually put it in my comment section, and I'm gonna get some people over here because you're talking about good stuff. I mean, kind of what you were talking about earlier. I wanted to, kind of go in on that when you were talking about the Laundrie, bringing Chris Laundrie into that search over there. There is a
Yeah.
big problem with that, and that's not, I kind of went over that in my life too about family members going into a search and stuff. That's not common practice.
No,
So,
it's a
I
bit
don't know
weird,
if it was a
isn't it?
public. Yeah, go ahead.
I totally agree, and I think it was a publicity stunt because they're copping so much flack from what they're not doing, that they've decided just for a publicity stunt. And in my opinion, they're just going to make everyone angrier. They couldn't get off their asses to go look for Gabby, but now it's their son and they're copping flack for everything. They sort of feel like they've got to do something. And so their solicitor is saying, well, go do this, but it's just going to make everyone angrier because they couldn't be bothered looking for Gabby.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't want to compare any. I don't. Well, I'm going to, but you look at families that this family over here that on the case that we're really targeted or focused on is this family has been out there talking about it since the beginning. They got on the news. They got on the thing. They didn't lawyer up. They're trying. Yeah, are they perfect? No, nobody's perfect. But you go over and you look at the Laundrie situation. These people have a house with a pool and property and 3 companies and all this. And when they have drama come their way, they lawyer up and shut down and lock themselves in the house. So, I mean, what's
Yeah.
really going on?
What's really going on? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I was thinking in the early days that I wasn't going to talk about the case because everyone wants to come down on the parents. And I was thinking in the early days that maybe he didn't tell his parents anything, that they broke up. And that's why I replied to any of the texts and whatever. But there's still some other oddities in there that I can't explain in that little dynamic that I thought might have been happening to begin with. So, but it's interesting because, on one hand, we've got parents that you're working with who are trying to keep the social media sort of attention going because the media is not covering it. So they're trying to keep, generate that social media attention to keep the focus on it. And they're telling them to shut up. They don't want to hear from them. And yet in Laundrie case, they're saying, come on, speak up. We want to hear from you. But, we've also seen in other cases when the person does speak up, they get like they cop it
Slaughtered.
anyway. Whatever they say is twisted and used against them anyway.
Yeah. Absolutely. They get freaking I use the word crucified because basically it is. I mean, you're taking these people, and not only are you picking them apart every aspect of their life, and there's no evidence pointing to even to go that way. And then you go to another case. Now, don't get me wrong. Now, the Laundries are getting quite the heat themselves. But that stuff has been brought on to them. This family that over here that we're involved with over here, what were they on? Where did you see Don at the very first of it? He's on the news saying with his son beside him saying, "Hey, look, this is what happened. I'm just asking for prayer. I need help. This is what happened." Then the next week you have Don and Candace both on the news saying, "Hey, you can see the pain and hurt and the exhaustion, the mental exhaustion in their faces because they're out there and they get tore up and crucified for that." So, but then you have another family down in Florida that's got everything going for them, and their son has pretty much had a silver spoon in his mouth his whole life, and um, they can't even speak up and tell the family of the girlfriend that he has, fiance, let's put it that way. You can't even speak up and tell the family, "Hey, I'm sorry for your loss. I'm sorry. What can we do to help?" that's a problem. But then you've got people that are just because you don't. But the problem here on this end is with the whales is because people didn't like what they saw on TV. They didn't think the image didn't fit in their book. They felt like, oh, they just deserve it. And
That's
then we
right.
had, yeah, that's
Look
not
how
fair.
messy their house is. Look how messy the property is. It's a danger to the kids, and yeah, and they didn't talk right, and I know it's absolutely the certainly the class war. Like I always going to talk about the class war on my channel, and it just sort of other things blew up and took over. So, but yeah, there's certainly a class war that goes on. If you fit into this specific class, then you get all of the attention, all of the media attention, everything goes well, and people are, so not so much down on you, but you fit into this other category that people think is a lower class, and that's it. They hammer you, and they want to take all your family off you and see you divorced and whatnot.
Well, I just saw a chat there said people criticize when stories don't make sense. That's what I have I understand that people like what doesn't make sense.
We lost you, Cam. I don't know where you went, but we lost you, dude. Well, I will just add to what Jenny is saying while Cam sorts out his audio. The what makes sense to one person doesn't make sense to another, so people criticize either way. So you're always going to have this stuff that I see as logic that I put out on my channel that I see as very logical and not really hard to wrap your head around, and yet people still come over and they still get it. They don't understand the logic, and I'm explaining things as simply as I can, but they still don't get the logic. And so yeah, can I just get you guys to let me know that you can actually hear me? Because I'm not sure if Cam got cut off or if if it's me. Give me a sign that you guys are still hearing at least me, and we'll work out what's going on with Cam if it's Cam. Oh, cool. You can hear me. At least someone's still transmitting. Well, Cam might have to actually leave and come back, I think. So I will just pop him off the screen so he can see that we're not hearing him. Thanks, guys. I'm glad someone can hear something. So, and yes, Aroa, I completely agree. We absolutely, whoops, hang on, I hit the wrong one. Where'd you go? We absolutely can criticize without the hate, and that is something else that I'm trying to demonstrate with the videos that I've been putting out. I'm certainly criticizing, all the parties involved, and but I'm doing it in a way that's not hateful. I'm doing it in a way that I can still point out the actual criticism and not be hateful about it. So, I certainly don't need the backlash on my channel. So I'm not trying to be hateful about it. And I've only had maybe 3 all up people who have come over and typed hateful comments. And one wasn't even like that hateful. It was just, I just said, look, if I can criticize without being hateful, then you should give it a try. And I've left that comment up. But anyone else who is being a lot nastier than that are just getting pretty much chucked in the silence bin. But there's only been 2 others.
Where did it knock me out at? I'm sorry, that phone call came in and I think it knocked me out of there.
It so did. But that's right. I was just filling in the blanks for you. We were actually talking. Let me scroll back. This one here. You were in the middle
Oh,
of that
okay.
one.
Okay, yeah, that's what. Okay, I see what you're saying. And then she had another one here. It said people, but something don't add up with her parents' narrative. I, I will. This is on my opinion. I will have to disagree. I'm here and I see it. The story and the line and what I feel like was truthful hasn't changed through the whole what they've said from the beginning to the end has been the same. Um, I can stand behind that. Believe this: if a polygraph was failed during this, it would have been known. I've covered this on my channel a lot because, and this is where I'm saying with evidence, and I'm standing on this, and I'm going about this completely neutral now. If we've seen in a case that happened right before with Evelyn Boswell, when the polygraph and stuff did not, or even lies about getting a polygraph, she was charged with obstruction of justice and all sorts of stuff. TBI didn't tolerate it at all, and I just don't see it with two people, well, three people. They were all put under polygraph. I kind of went over this on my live tonight. Um, best believe if they came back, if those came back as being they were deceiving them or being dishonest, there would be arrests made. I promise you that. We've seen it. That's how the TBI handled stuff in the past. When law enforcement speaks out and says everybody is still a suspect, everybody is still being looked into, that is, that's saying that there's multiple people that are in this circle and that it shouldn't be tunnel visioned on just the parents. Of course, when things happen like this, and we went over this the other day too, our country has turned into a country of guilty until proven innocent, and that's a problem. We Back in the day, you used to be able to go to court, and the state had to prove that you were guilty. Now you go into a courtroom, and you're basically having to prove that you're innocent, and because it is that, and that that's the thing I was trying to cover. Let's put ourselves in these people's shoes and walk for just a second. So, how would we feel if something happened to one of our children, and you immediately are crucified, said you're lying about everything that you said, but yet you have things that are playing on your side? Well, hey, we didn't have to go down and sit for this polygraph, but we did, because
Right.
even though it doesn't stand up in a court of law, regardless, we went and took it, and we all three passed. um, let's see, what they wanted: blood work from that day. We gave it willingly. uh, let's see, law enforcement did not have to get one single search warrant for the property because they were that compliant. Multiple searches. They flipped that house 7 times.
Well,
And so, I mean,
let's not forget that the main suspect that everyone's poking fun at has actually got a rock solid alibi.
that, amen. That's what, that too. That as well. We have to look at the facts. And just because people want to come in with rumors, and this is, and we covered this too the other day. If you put yourself also in those shoes, say that you have a son, and your son had a girlfriend back when he was 16, and they had dated for a long time, and that girl gets very mad at him over something irrelevant to, and just comes out and says, this person did this, or he did this to me. Is it fair that you are automatic guilt by what somebody says, or would it be more fair that you have to go to a court of law and be proven that you did that before those accusations could be told on you? And then
Yeah.
there's so much that I feel like that we have to look at evidence. That doesn't mean that I support, or that we support SA, or we do anything like, we heard that forever. It's not that. It's just that we choose to stand on the side of that we want to see evidence before we bring it into account. And I don't see how that's not right to be that way. because that's
No, it's
supposed to
right.
be how law enforcement. That's supposed to be how law enforcement functions.
I know,
So
I
you
agree
know,
entirely. And I would just add to that my son is in his 30s now. So, yes, I've had a 16-year-old son who is broken up with a girlfriend. She did come to me and she wanted to bitch about him. And I had to keep saying to her, you understand he's my son, don't you? So,
right,
he did that. And I was trying to explain to her that, I understand how she feels, that she feels that way. That's fine. She's allowed to feel that way. But I'm not going to sit here and take sides against my own son. It's just not going to happen. So I don't know that he did anything more or less than she did. They were just in a toxic relationship. It was dysfunctional. They cut when he was 18. And about a year later, we were able to, they got past their problems. And then I got her on Facebook again, and we were able to, just talk normally again. But up until, that year apart, they just had, it was just toxic. And she was trying to drag me into everything. So, but that's why I took the approach that I did originally with the Gabby situation. So I thought, well, when my son came to me, I didn't want to take sides. Like I wanted to hear the issues that he was having, and he was having the issues, obviously. But the actual breakup and how they broke up and, how messy it got, that part of it, I didn't want to know.
right. Can I? Do you care, Aussie? Do you care if I answer this question right here from Jenny? She said one example of contradiction that bothers me. She says one parent says the door was never locked, and the other says it was always locked. Okay, so this is what I've gathered, and this is what we have learned to this. So at the time, Candace says, at the time, she was gone that day with her, with Summer and her mother. So when she leaves, she tells the boys, lock the house, no one in, no one out. But these are three younger boys that run around and play on that property, go in and outdoors. Then Dawn
Older
says
boys.
to, yeah, all the boys. And then Dawn says and comes and says, listen, this, our boys are always leaving that door unlocked and sometimes leaving it wide open. And we get onto them all the time. That's what he said. So that day, you got to think about this. One parent leaves. She's like, I'm thinking the door's locked. I'm still thinking because we just got back and nobody's been down there yet. That door's probably locked. I'm sure she hadn't been down there until she went to check for Summer to know if it was or not. Summer goes down there to play. Say earlier in the day, one of the boys, they go down there to play or something while they're gone. They go outside, open the door, do whatever. They forget it's unlocked. I mean, that's what we have to think about. We have to think about the whole picture. She
also said whenever she did a prior interview with somebody else on the property, as they were walking out the door, she was asked if that door was locked, if she remembered if that door was locked that day, and she said that she honestly could not remember when she went out, when she was looking for Summer, if the door was locked or not.
Yeah.
Right. And also,
And
just to add to that, Don is hearsay because he wasn't there. He was literally at work. So he can't say whether that door was locked or not. So what he says is what is told to him. And so that makes it hearsay.
Exactly. And also, he was kind of like, I don't think he understood the question when they were talking about does the door lock automatically when you go in and out? He's saying it has a door. He's saying, does that door have a lock on it? And does it lock? And I don't think he got what was being asked when that certain somebody came up there and was questioning Candace. That door is just like any other door. It has a deadbolt and a bottom lock. It's not an automatic lock. It doesn't lock automatically. It's either locked with a key, or it's unlocked, or it's locked on the inside, or it's unlocked. That's how that works. I looked at it myself. I also did a picture of that door in a very unbiased, neutral way. I took a picture of the tint. It's not completely like two-way mirror glass. It's tinted. So during the daytime, but if it's nighttime, are getting in the evening time and the lights on in there, you can see inside there.
Or if you put your face directly up to it,
you can see it.
You could see it.
Exactly. But I mean, I wanted
Right.
to show every
And
aspect of that property.
I'll just fill Jenny in on who you are so she understands. He's actually a local and he knows the Wells personally. So just so you understand that this isn't just, he's not just picking up what was told on YouTube and social media, etc. He's spoken with the parents himself. So it's not just it's not just what he's picked up from what people are saying. Hello, Soul Sister.
Right.
Thanks for joining us. Hello, Butterfly's
Hey,
Journey.
Sue,
Thanks for
Sister.
joining. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out to Jenny, just in case she's new and didn't understand.
Yeah, and basically, you know, we didn't know them before this. We actually were doing our channel. We were talking about it, and we were invited up by the Wells and through the private investigators to come up and look at the property. That's another thing. They wanted, and you know, he showed me. I didn't know about we filmed all the different paths that were looked over because we felt like when a previous person went up there and filmed that it was only filmed in what they wanted it to be seen. And so we wanted to go up and film everything. And when I went up there, we were, you know, Don showed us, he said, well, look at this trail. Did you know about this trail? What about this trail? I was like, wow. I said, nobody's ever covered this. And he was like, no. And I've told everybody about it. And I was like, wow. Yeah. So that's what we did. And I thought that it opened up a better broad spectrum of to give a better view that, yeah, this is possible. We don't know necessarily stranger abduction or somebody that knew or was familiar. We don't know that, but I do believe in abduction. It's very, very possible.
Right. And I'm thinking not so much a stranger, definitely someone who knew them, but not the parents. I actually do believe that Don is being a spokesperson for Candace at the moment because she is so broken about it. And not everybody...
It's exactly what it is.
Right. And not everybody is so stoic in front of the cameras. You know, Don, you can see he struggled to hold it together when he's in front of the cameras. Like, if someone's not having a go at him, he's just being himself, he's allowed to be himself, then you can see that he's struggling to hold it together himself. But the fact that there's a family spokesperson, that's not unusual. And it's actually, I'm pretty sure it's a right in America that you can have a family spokesperson, that you can say, no, you don't want to speak to the media or, you know, anyone if you don't want to. Pretty sure that that's a victim's right in America. I know it is in California. I actually looked up the statute in California, so I'm pretty sure it's all over America that victims have a right whether they want to speak up or not. And Don took front and center. He took he took the limelight off Candace, and like even there, you could, in the first interview, you could see the boys were actually not really coping with it very well. They might have been all excited about getting in front of the camera to start with, but yeah, things I think got too stressful for them even. So even having them in front of a camera was like too hectic. Everyone just like lashed out at those boys. So
exactly.
Yeah.
I wanted to weigh in on something you said about, you know, you brought up the behavior panel, and I felt like those guys did a very good professional job with how they spoke to him. Don even got emotional. The man reaches out and says, hey, man, I understand, and I'm sorry this is hard. You can see the hurt in his eyes. He just never had the opportunity before to not be on the defense. He got to actually sit down and say, because of the way that they addressed it and they asked their questions. It didn't feel like he was being attacked. So I felt like it actually gave him a chance to express himself without having to be on the defense the whole time.
Right. Jenny,
So I mean,
we don't mind if you have an opinion, but we would like you to keep it respectful. And these are parents who have lost a child. So if you can keep it respectful, then that's fine. We don't mind if you have an opinion, okay? But as soon as you step over that boundary and you start saying bad things about parents, I'm sorry, but one of my mods probably going to have to remove you. You know the deal. So
right, and we've handled that. We've tried to handle this very professionally and talk about it, and answer every question, and go into detail about it. Because I mean, a lot of these things have been gone over, and gone over, and gone over, and it's it to take time. That's how much I care that about innocent until proven guilty. Because when we lose sight of that, I even added this in that we saw some comments and things that people were saying that said even if they are proven are said to be not suspects anymore, are proven innocent, we're still going to think they're guilty. I'm like, how? That's a dangerous world when people have mindsets like that, and we have to be very careful that you know what I mean. That's why I'm so passionate about that. We have to give everybody a fair shake. We have to look at the evidence in detail, because if we don't, we're gonna give people the acts. We're gonna give law enforcement and people the ability to come and just say, "Hey, you're guilty," even though we don't have evidence, and we're gonna give you a life sentence, and everybody's gonna be okay with it. And that's
right,
that's all. We can't live in a world like that, because we're
right.
slowly
Because
going to drift down that path.
opinions and theories aren't what put people in jail. Opinions and theories are like arseholes. Everyone's got one, but what puts people in jail is evidence. And until you've got the evidence, everyone is innocent until proven guilty. And you're exactly right with that, Cam.
Yeah. Well, and I appreciate that. And I wasn't trying to talk excessively on here, but I like that it is a big problem, and it's trial by media is a big problem. And and I'm so happy that some people have turned away from mainstream, and they do come to social media sometimes to get factual evidence and factual things that people are not going to skew it one way or another. And we have to take that responsibility and use it to the world's advantage by sharing things that are non-biased, neutral. This is the way it is. This is what we got. Now, how can we go this way or that way? We have to keep going down the straight middle. Now, when evidence points that way, then we can go that way.
Right.
But, yeah.
Exactly. So you got to follow the evidence, not the rumors and the theories. Because, everyone's got one. And if you're following theories, you're going to be following yourself around in circles all day, every day. And if you're actually listening to the people who are involved, the people who are missing their children, the people who don't know how to deal with it or what to think about it, if you're listening to them, they're the only ones that count in this particular situation. They were there, they know what what they can tell you happened. Everything else is simply a opinion.
Exactly. But yeah, I'm thanks for letting us come on. It's getting 9 o'clock. I have to put my children in bed. I might have to bow out and take care of
That's all
my
good.
home duties, but thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes, thank you for coming and sharing your thoughts with us. We all much appreciate it. And give your kids a big hug. Good night from all of us. And give that wife of yours a big hug from all of us as well.
I absolutely will. Thank you, guys. If you're new over here and you follow us and you came over, make sure you subscribe to Aussie. Make sure that you pay attention. She's very intelligent. She'll lay it out how it is. and she'll go places that sometimes we won't go. So, and she'll talk about the real issues that sometimes don't want to be talked about. So you guys, I'll subscribe to her and pay attention. Thank y'all for listening to what we have to say, and we will talk to you later.
Thank you. We'll talk
All
to
right,
you
see ya.
soon. Bye. Okay, so he was my surprise guest for the night. I'm sure I can rustle up some more surprise guests as we go along, but we'll see. Hang on, he just come back. Hang on a second. Did you come back
No,
for a
I didn't
reason?
mean. No, I don't know
Okay,
how sorry about that.
all good. So there you go. Bums to you guys. So yes, if you haven't subscribed to Cracking Cases, get on over and hit the subscribe button. They're boots on the ground. They're giving us information that is actually evidence, that is, on the actual property from the actual parents, the people involved. So they're not just opinions and theories. So yeah, that's right. Clucking, send them on over. On who's baby Lisa? I watched a big thing on baby Lisa, and it's the same thing that happened to them. Meanwhile, evidence showed that there was a man walking around with a baby in a diaper at 2 a.m. Has anyone watched the documentary? I haven't heard of baby Lisa, Natasha, but it was a very similar thing that happened with the McCann kid. So, and people still to this day still don't believe that the McCanns are not guilty. So, but there was actually a man walking down along the beach with that kid. The man's actually been caught, and he matches the description. And not only does he match the description, but there's actually evidence. So, but people still don't care. They don't care about evidence. They would rather go with their personal opinions and theories and how they felt about that person or those people. So it's it's very interesting, that dynamic. And just to be clear, Jenny, I wasn't saying that you were. I was just giving you the heads up that this is the rules here on my channel. Okay, so I wasn't saying that you were. I was just, as a newcomer, just explaining to you that we are an innocent until proven guilty channel. So just making sure you understood, that's all. And there's also a couple of other new names in the room that in the chat that she'll make sure they understand the same thing. So it wasn't really directed at you personally. So I apologize if that's the way it came across. Lisa Ruin. So there you go, guys. Have a squiz at that documentary. I'm certainly going to look it up now that Natasha has brought it to my attention. So it will be interesting. So yeah, that's a good thing, Jenny. Critical thinking is a great thing. But the thing that I'm trying to put across with my channel and all of my videos, if you've watched, a series of them, is that there are ways to work out what is actually a fact and what is an opinion or a theory. And that's what I sort of aim to do on my channel. If I can find, something to substantiate a theory, then that moves it a little closer to fact for me. And I think that's why a lot of people come to my channel, because they're in the same sort of frame of mind, or they're just learning themselves how to actually go and find, something that is a fact to fit a theory. But on the same token, I think you need to have your data is what builds the theory. It's not the other way around. You don't have a theory that you're fitting facts to. You have data that tells its own story, and that's the theory. And so that's what I try to sort of put across on my channel in pretty much all of my content, is yes, there's all these theories out there that go round and round and round, and everyone's got an opinion that's, just natural. However, there's also data, and data is what the police rely on. Data is what the courts will rely on. So if you want a good understanding, a solid understanding of how this will go when a perpetrator is found, and you're looking at the actual data and you're wondering, is this person going to get a conviction or whatever? Are they going to be able to put together a jury that's not full of opinions and theories? So these are the tools. I show you the tools that you can use to help build on that information. So critical thinking can allow for human error. We're all human. Correct, White Rose. And I do not think that I am always 100% correct. So if you all look at my Rosie Bly videos, I did have to make a correction there, and I was happy to make the correction there. I realised the very instant someone pointed out to me, I said, yep, you're right, in the comments, and then within a day I had a correction video to say, yeah, I was wrong about this, and this is how I got it wrong, and now I'm right, this is correct information. So I believe that's what the other channel that got themselves terminated should have been doing from the start. That moment where you realize you're wrong, your information, your intel, whatever is wrong, you need to be able to correct it. And YouTube will give you that lenience if you're prepared to accept that you're wrong and you're prepared to correct the mistake. YouTube will give you that lenience, and even 3-month suspension can be appealed as long as you admit, yep, I was wrong, I did that wrong, and accept it, take the consequences, or accept that, that you were wrong. Then sometimes you can actually get a YouTube appeal overturned, a YouTube suspension or termination overturned because you've accepted, yep, I was in the wrong. But when you get 3 strikes and you're being warned constantly that you're pushing this envelope, that's when it's moving into a completely different category of are you being responsible with your channel? And clearly those channels that have been removed, they weren't responsible, or they wouldn't have lost their channels. So it's very simple. I see one channel saying, before they were terminated, saying, yep, I'm pretty sure I am going to lose my channel, and I'm pretty sure I've been pushing the envelope. Well, that was sort of a point where you probably should have stopped pushing that envelope if you didn't want to lose your channel. If you were quite happy that your channel was just was going to go anyway, then I guess you're probably going to keep pushing the envelope. So we don't see that with the other channel, the larger channel who was shut down. And I find that very concerning, because if you're not prepared to admit that you are human and that you can make an error, then yeah, I think you're probably just always going to be pushing the envelope, yeah, and we were following you, White Roses. We were on the same page. And also probably good to note that everybody's got a different delay factor here. So some people are hearing some of the conversation. I know my delay to you guys is 5 to 10 seconds, but I have noticed that there is a delay. Like there's no delay in the chat, but there's definitely a delay, more delay for some viewers than others. So just take that into account. Also when you're making your comments. Sorry, that one didn't show for some reason. Oh yes, it did. Sorry, that one was what I was after. Sorry, I got clickety click finger. Yes, mistakes are part of learning how to discern information. Debate allows for continuous learning and theories are how we solve problems. That's correct, Jenny. But theories are also how we victimize. Victimization is a very important topic in social media because, so I'm not sure if you guys are aware of this, but in the media, the mainstream media, there's a certain line that they're not allowed to cross in victimization. So you've got the actual victim. So in Gabby's case, she's the actual victim. Her family are secondary victims. So if we all start going out there and theorizing that her family must have done something, like in the very early days, people were theorizing that Gabby was the aggressor. And it turns out that while she was fighting back, she was not the aggressor. We can see that now because of the outcome. But people couldn't see that then. And so they were trashing Gabby. And so this is why we don't victimize people until we actually have evidence, because it turns out all those people victimizing Gabby, she was literally the victim. So, and that's the same thing with the Laundrie parents. I don't want to start going hardcore on the Laundrie parents because we don't know what Brian told them. Sure, they're behaving very weirdly, not the way that I would behave, not the way that you would behave. That's all fine. There's definitely, some oddities there, but I don't want to victimize people until I've got some reason or some evidence that says, okay, now this is the way it is. Until then, it's just a theory. And so what happens is you've got people who are in pain. They've just lost their daughter, like as I was saying, going back to early stages with Gabby, they didn't know where she was. They've lost their daughter in the sense of she's missing, and people were saying bad things about her. That's victimization. Now we know she's a victim. All those people have to eat their words. What they said was nasty, and it victimized people who are actually victims. And so I feel the same way about the Laundrie parents. They may well be victims of what their son has done. They may not know that he did those things. They may not believe it still to this day that he did those things. And if they are in that frame of mind, they don't want to say anything that that can be used against him in a court of law. And that's the main reason that the Tennessee, sorry, I've got to get the right state, the Florida statute actually protects them from saying anything that incriminates their son. They don't have to testify against him. The law basically says because they are parents, it's the same as a wife. You can't make them testify against their own family member. So there's a reason that law is in place. It's not just willy-nilly. It's been in place for hundreds of years, and it's part of what creates civil society. We have these laws for a reason. They didn't just pop up overnight because of some, person trying to protect their own ass or their family member. These laws are in for a reason, and you need to stick to when you're deciding on what to do. Like a lot of people thought the police should just go and arrest Laundrie and his parents straight off the bat before they even found Gabby's body. Well, that was unconstitutional. That they couldn't do that. The police couldn't go and do that because that was a violation of their rights. So standing there demanding that the police go and violate these people's rights, well, they're your rights as well. They're not just the Laundrie's rights. They're your rights as well. So if you're demanding the police should be allowed to go and violate those rights, then what you're saying is that you're all cool with the establishment victimizing you if it happens to you. And so that's where you've got to draw the line. Lawyers are there to keep the establishment held accountable. So the fact that they hid behind their lawyers, you can disagree with that altogether if you want to. However, that doesn't mean anybody should have been arrested. So Hello, Nellie. Thanks for dropping by. I'm thinking more along the lines of theories as it relates to the scientific method. I agree that victimization and re-victimization is awful. Right, so I'm getting the message across, so at least to one person. I hope you'll understand where I am actually coming from with respect to that. And so there's also there's an extra sort of layer of PTSD that you can apply to victimization and re-victimization, because if the person literally is innocent and you've just victimized them all over the media and YouTube and all over the social media, you victimize. They can suffer from PTSD. These are long-term effects, and that costs your community. Those people who live in your community now have to rely on your mental health services to go and repair the damage that is done to them. And it also deters people from actually reporting crimes. So when you have this like institutional victimization that goes on, people then don't trust the institution, so they don't report it. And that means there's more crime in your neighborhood because people aren't reporting the crime now. And this seems to be the biggest problem out of all the stats that I've looked up. This seems to be the biggest problem out of all of it. Well, the two biggest problems is the fact that people report. So of the number of reports that you actually see being reported, there's another 90% that aren't reported, or 80%. I can't remember the exact numbers, but it's pretty high. It's up there. So that's the first thing on their list, is we need more people reporting crime. And the second thing that's high on their list is providing mental health services to people who have not only been a victim of crime, either because it was them that was the victim or because it was one of their family members, but also victim of what the media is doing to them. And that's a long-term mental health issue that your community ends up paying for. So these are the two hot topics that they focus on in the way that we deal the media, social media, and those of us who have ability on YouTube, the way we deal with information. So yes, Florida is a hot mess. The fact that people were up on the laundry lawn and looking in their windows is so inappropriate. Right, and that happened in Cal City as well, Jenny. There were some terrible things that people were doing in Cal City that was just eye-popping. Like, it just wouldn't happen in Australia. Like, the police would just be arresting all of them. These are things that just would not happen in Australia. It compounds the trauma, exactly, Amber. So yes, and so what we're seeing, Candace right now, is she had already been through all of this. She already knew what was coming. Don was probably a little bit more oblivious, but obviously has no choice because he has to be the spokesperson for the family. But Candace was already aware of what was going to go down on social media because she's already been through it with her sister going missing. So her and her mum, they knew straight up. They knew that they already had all the trauma because that sister still hasn't been found and they're still suffering that trauma. Now daughter's missing and granddaughter, so now there's this extra compounding of the trauma. So that's why you're not hearing from those two. You know, they've already been, this isn't their first rodeo. They already know the trauma. They're still living the trauma, and now we're compounding the trauma. So I don't expect either of them to come out and say anything and leave Don as the spokesperson. I'm pretty sure they're very thankful that Don's being the spokesperson. He's taking front of it all, and it's very courageous of Don to do that. Like, it just shows that, you know, he's a man. He's stepping up. It doesn't matter. You can come at him left, right, and crooked. He's going to step up and protect the girls, and that's a man in my book, man. And I'm sorry if you don't agree with me, but that's a man. That's the type of man you want standing by. It would be a good thing if you did watch all the videos, Jen, because you know they're very educational. But not to toot my own horn, but when I see these issues come up and the way people are dealing with things, I do deep dive on them and pull it apart. So thank you, soul sister. I hope I get to my 1,000, and that's it. I don't want any more than 1,000. I want the 1,000 so that I can get the extra tools that I need to get the community sort of comfortable. And then after that, I don't want any more than 1,000. And the other thing is, I don't want to monetize. So I know people are saying, they want me to do the super chats and the rah, but I don't want to monetize. Because I want to just keep it pure information, no one's going to say, oh, you're just doing this to get the money. So I won't monetize for that reason. I don't want the money. I'm doing this because we all need to learn, first of all, self-control and understand that our words do have power. We can absolutely victimize people just by the words that we type into a chat or type onto a screen or say on YouTube. So we do need to understand that. And so that's my main goal is making sure people understand that and that you can fact check. There's so many easy ways to check what's true and what's not. It's very simple to fact check. And so that's sort of my main goal is don't rely on the fact checkers, the automated, algorithms and YouTube's personal fact checkers and Facebook's personal fact checkers, because they're generally political. They've got a political reason that they're doing it. You go fact check it for yourself, and then it matches your political reasons. You know what I'm saying? And then it matches the facts as well, and not just the risk. So words do have great power, Nelly. Absolutely do. And you know what? The funny thing is, there's even a channel called that, and I just don't. I don't even want to go there. I don't understand how you can be a channel called Words Have Power, and then use your words to put other people down. I don't get that. The two don't fit into the same field for me. But anyway, so yeah, got totally sidetracked on that. I'm not going to diss the woman. I'm just going to say it's just odd that she has a channel called that and then uses her power to put people down. So, toot away, you reckon, Jenny? I'm not really much into the tooting, to be honest, but I'm getting used to it. I'm getting used to the compliments, and I'm getting used to understanding, that people do appreciate the work that I'm putting into it. So that's bloody awesome. So yeah, I absolutely have no problems with people asking questions, and people do ask questions, but then they take it into a whole other realm. It's like the question is asked to suck you in so they can say something nasty to you. That happens a heck of a lot just in the comments. It's been doing my head in with these sort of things just to suck you in. But yeah, so I want to get back to my list of the things that I wanted to talk about, because I haven't quite covered them yet. So the Valo recordings. The Valo recordings. So did you all see the Valo recordings? Did you catch up with the so there was the police interview with Laundrie Valo, the police interview with Alex Cox, and then the police interview with Tylee Ryan. Did you all catch those? What I found stunning about those interviews was that they all told a slightly different story about where they were when the things went down. Very interesting, because Alex Cox said that there was at this point where he pulled the trigger that Laurie was already gone, and that the point where he scuffled with Charles, that Tylee wasn't there. Then Tylee tells her story. She says that she was there. And then Laurie tells her story and she says a whole bunch of different things as well. Laurie said she rang Alex to come along to be her protector because she thought things were going to get out of hand. Alex denies that she actually said any of that to him. So I found there's a lot of interesting snippets in those interviews. And then just to top it all off, there was the Melanie Gibbs interview, and that was like, whoa. So you get like, I think it's 2 hours of Alex interview, which was of which was only, I think, possibly half an hour, possibly, of him actually being interviewed. The rest was just him sitting there twiddling his thumbs. There was similar with Laurie, so there was an hour's worth of footage of Laurie, and then only maybe 10 minutes of that was her actually being interviewed. And then there was, I forget how much of Tylee, possibly an hour or two of Tylee. Again, only 10 minutes of that was actually her actually interviewed. And then the Melanie Gibbs was like 2 hours, I think, and she didn't shut the fuck up the whole time. She's blah, 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 getting all sidetracked enough, and she just loves the sound of her voice, that woman. Did anyone get that from the Melanie Gibb interview? Yes, crazy indeed, Jenny. I thought they were crazy too. For sure. It makes it hard to discern what actually happened. Right. But this is with the Valo shooting. This is the first time we're hearing the information, Jenny. Up until this point, it's just been pure speculation and rumor. This is the first time that we're hearing what was actually said to the police. This is actual evidence that we're listening to now. And so it's time for me to open up conversation about it. You'll note on my channel, I have not mentioned it at all because everything before now has been pure speculation. So, the Charles Valo victim saw straight. Hang on, I've only got half the stuff on my screen for some reason. I have to admit, when I saw the video of Gabby, I was on Brian's side. In my defense, I raised 3 sons who all had been hit by women at one time or another. We all see things through our experiences. That's right, Zach. We do. I actually saw a completely different thing in the footage. I saw, because of my own experience, Gabby taking the blame, which the abused generally does, and Brian blaming her, which the abuser generally does. That's what I saw in the police cam footage, but so did a lot of other psychologists type people. So yes, Charles Valo's victims saw straight through it. They absolutely did. Oh, sorry, you're saying Cox's victims saw straight through it. Laurie did some weird looking bounce and smile when she said Alex was professional with guns. Just an observation I made. Did anyone else see that? Yes, I absolutely did. So, there was so much, like they were just so jam-packed that I would like to actually download them and just grab them and then just pull it apart for you guys and point out some of the subtle things that I picked up in those interviews. Like, but especially Melanie Gibbs, like, that woman's a piece of work. Like, she is trying to distance herself from this shit, like, at 100 miles an hour. So, you're welcome, Cluckin. I waited till my guests left because my guests don't say swear words. So, well, there's been a few times in the private phone calls I've had with them where I've actually slipped the words and said, like, close your ears because I'm gonna do it. Sometimes it just slips out before the warning. Yes, she's going to be a shitty witness. Well, it depends. She's going to be a good witness for the prosecution, I think. Prosecution, actually, she's going to be a great witness for the prosecution. But I think that on cross examination by the defense, yeah, her shit's going to come to pieces on the cross, I think. But yeah, very interesting. There's some really weird shit with those interviews, so I reckon I should do some videos now that we know what was told to the police. And it's sort of even like in some places conflicts with some of the documentation that the police have released on what was said to them. So there's some, yeah, there's going to be some. It's going to be an interesting court case to watch as well. I don't know if you guys are into the whole court part of things, but that's where I get especially juice court stuff. I've been wanting to do a tear down on Robert Durst for you, just to show you how much into the courts I get, because you aren't even seeing the half of the stuff that I get into on my channel at the moment. But yeah, I'm a little bit worried I'll bore you all to death with some of the depths that I'll go to with the courts. I love the legal stuff. I love the legal jargon. So that'll all be fun. But now that the Robert Durst trial is at the other end, I think it's time to pull that one down. So, dude, that guy was I can probably break it all down for you in the first minutes of cross-examination, even though this whole court case was over a period of I think it was 6 or 12 weeks. I can't remember how long. It was a long period anyway. But the prosecution's crimination opened with, well, the defense's first questions were, did you kill so and so? And he said no. And then the prosecution's cross-examination started with, if you did kill so and so, would you tell us? And he said no. And so that kind of sums up the whole what that court case was like from start to end. So it was quite funny. Yeah, so I think the defense is, yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun court case for sure, because what I predict is she is going to be good for the prosecution. She certainly was in the hand-up committal. Wait, you guys don't call it that. What do you guys call it? What do you call the hand-up committal? Quick, help me, Cluckin. What do they call the hand-up committal? Preliminary hearing. So she was handy in the preliminary hearing, but I just wonder, yeah, how handy she's going to be on cross-examination. She's real there. Yeah, this is going to be Melanie Gibbs going to be a very good example of yeah, how a witness can turn around and bite you on the butt. Thank you, Jenny. Preliminary hearing. That's what I was after. See, in Australia, we call it a hand-up committal. So our courts have pretty much the same structure as yours. We just call them different things. So you go to a magistrate's court to get a hand-up committal to the criminal court, and it's the same kind of thing. It's a preliminary hearing where they work out whether you have a case to answer. If you have a case to answer, that you get handed up to the criminal courts. But if the the magistrate feels you don't have a case to answer, there's not enough evidence, then you don't get handed up. So it is exactly the same thing. We just have different words for it. So sometimes I'm into Aussie jargon, and if I do that and you don't understand what I'm talking about, just say so, and I will correct it. I try to remember the words that you guys use as best I can. And then my Aussie people will pipe up and go, well, what's that mean? So on a Saturday, yes, it absolutely is, isn't it? So I am not a legal expert at all, not by a long shot, but I understand the legal jargon to a certain extent. But I wouldn't even say expertise, because I've only done like introductory level course, but that was in international law, and we had to understand the difference between the common law that applies to us as citizens in our countries to the international law. And so in common law, everything is based on previous cases and case law. So when the higher courts make a ruling, that ends up becoming part of case law that you would use to argue a common law case. Whereas in international law, there is no case law, and it's all based on I guess mostly tradition. So if the tradition of that country is to be, let's say, ignoring human rights, for example, then that's their tradition, and international courts have to a certain degree, respect it. Up to a certain degree, of course, we don't agree with mass slaughter or anything like that. So anyway, but yes, it is. Hi, Ali, thanks for joining us. And yes, you're right. It's case law is set. Precedents have been set in previous cases. So international law doesn't work like that. But because I had to study those differences, I actually did have to have a crash course on common law. And when I was at uni doing my university degree in software engineering, I also had to do a course there on commercial law. And that did involve looking up case law and understanding some of the jargon associated with case law, precedents, all that sort of stuff, and how that works, how it operates, what's a good case what's a good case law or precedent to bring into the arguments. Because we've been a lot of hypothetical cases to work on, and one of the things that helped me with all the jargon was that in my second year of university, they asked us to be mentors for the first year uni students to sort of like to reduce the dropout rates of university. And so my task was helping first year students work out, how to put their courses, because you choose your own course, and within that course you've got different streams that you can do. So it was helping them choose a stream that was matched their interest, and then also the computer side of things, how to write an essay, how to prepare their essays on the computer, how to reference their material, and so on. And in doing all of that, I actually became very, very good friends with a legal student. She was actually in the law faculty. And from university till today, we're still very good friends, and we still bounce things back and forth. She still fills me in when I've got legal questions and I don't know, the jargon or how to get my head around it. She points me all in the right direction. And so, yeah, she's actually very helpful to this day. We're still good friends to this day. She just lives up the road from me. So we have a lot of debates about politics and legislation and all sorts of stuff. So, yeah, my interest in my understanding of law is really only a sort of a hobby sort of area of expertise. But I do like it. I jump right into. I love the court cases. So, what's the interview that was released on Zulema? Oh, haven't got the Zulema one yet. I only just finished watching the Melanie Gibbs one before I hit the live button. I was like, damn, we got to talk about this shit. I thought it was all very telling because, you know, I support law enforcement 100%. You guys who have been following me know that. However, I feel like they dropped the ball fully with this Charles Valo thing. I really do feel they dropped the ball. Because none of those stories matched. That was it. I don't know how they came to the conclusion that it was self-defense. Like it just beats me because there was just there was too many holes in their stories. But I guess the police are like the interviewers more experienced at picking or trying to pick out what's a normal trauma reaction, because I'm pretty sure that trauma reactions are totally different, because with us sitting back here looking on, we're not experiencing the trauma, so it's easy for us to say, well, this is what I do and that's what I do, and because we're not in the trauma moment. So I think that they're more experienced at picking what's a trauma reaction and how a story is told whilst a person's experiencing the trauma. But I still think, having said all that, I still think they dropped the ball on that one because there was some holes in those stories. So yes, Jenny, I am very keen to watch the Dilemma. That's the one I've been waiting for because she's key. I have always was a key in all of this. Yep, I'm clucking mad. Abso-clucking-lutely. I do. I love the law subject, and if I ever feel like my brain's getting a bit soggy and I want to go back to uni and do another subject, I think I'll do law. I think I actually will do law. And it won't be so I can practice it. It will be just because I want to do it and I don't want to get Alzheimer's or I feel like if I keep my brain exercised all the time, I got less chance of getting any of those, you know, memory loss problems. So, yes, I agree. I agree. There's something going on there with that woman. Something weird going on with that one. And what made me start thinking that was when all the text messages were released. I read through all that paperwork. Yeah, whoa. Weird. Oh, wow. Well, that's very cool, Ali. Peace and conflict studies. That's awesome. See, now you're the type of person I'd be looking at for mod management. Because mods do tend to have their issues, and peace and conflict management sounds like an awesome thing to have in our mod management. Nerd alert. Yep. Freaking awesome. Awesome. Well, here's another thing that you guys don't know about me. I also had to do statistics at university, so I'm actually a bit of a mathematician, especially as concerned. I actually got a HD for statistics, a high distinction. I kick ass. But I try not to put it on my channel, because I know maths is probably the first thing that makes everybody go brain dead all at once. Questions are starting to roll in, so you'll have to bear with me while I catch up with you. How would an American handle something like libel slander? about them. If it was written by someone in Scotland, for example, does it need to be handled under Scottish law? Well, that's a very interesting question. I don't know, to be honest. National law has nothing to do with that, because that's domestic law in two different countries. So I think the person who has the libel, well, actually, let's think about this, because the Johnny Depp versus the Sun media empire in the UK was like that, wasn't it? So the Sun printed a story about him, and it was a libel slander case. And he lives in America, Johnny Depp. And so what he did was he started the civil suit in the UK against the Sun in the UK. I think it goes to where it's printed. I think America works on where it was actually printed, where the slander actually occurred. So the Sun's headquarters, where that was printed, it was in the UK. Even though they actually have a branch in America, the actual printing of it came from the UK. UK law is what they were operating under. And Johnny was quite happy with that, because he thought under UK law, he had a better chance of proving his case against the Sun. But what he wasn't banking on is the witnesses having the sympathy of the judge. Like that, it was totally fucked up, like, to be honest. The judge sympathized with the witnesses in that case, and sided and ended up siding with the newspaper. So that was just really shit, because he had enough evidence to prove that the witnesses were not believable. But that's not how English law works. So they work much like our law, actually. Australian, like all of the countries that Britain sort of founded over this side of the world, we sort of have British law as our sort of main thing. You guys have got, way different law. I've got to look yours up all the time because I'm not familiar with yours. So I only watched Laurie and Tyler, and I thought the detective was terrible. She didn't go back and question anything they said. That's right. But they were also doing the victim advocacy as well, SAC. So they were actually seeing Laurie and Tyler as secondary victims and treating them that way. So that was a little bit worrying, because had the main detective who was interviewing Alex Cox been more on the ball, then they would have probably come back and questioned them a little bit more. Maybe not harder, but probably a little bit more, I guess. Are you talking about the maths side of your brain is broken, Ali? Because most people say that, so I'm just assuming you're talking about the maths side. Dyscalculia. I don't know what that is, but calc in the middle tells me that you have issues with maths. You get a mind block when it comes to maths, because most people do. So sorry guys, I'm struggling to keep up with you. Zelema does a bit of backtracking. She also misremembers facts from Alex's death. Yes. Well, we'll get to that. I haven't watched it yet, so that will be very interesting. I'm looking forward to it. Not at all, White Razors. We've all got our own little niches, haven't we? Goes by which country you're in. Goes by which country the offence occurred in, I think, Cluckin. That's from what I'm gathering in the libel stuff. It goes by which country the offence occurred in. So, and I think that's the way it works in America all over, because when you think about it, the crime with Gabby occurred in one state and then he fled back home to the other state. Well, the crime where the murder happened is where it's going to be, is where the court cases will be. So, and that law for that state is what will apply. So whether it's death penalty in that state or not, it's going to be that state's law that applies. America is easy to sue for defamation. Yeah, I don't know. Johnny Depp sort of thought that it was going to be easier in the UK, but the thing with America is it's in front of a jury still, even though it's a civil matter. It's in front of a jury still. So I think that as far as a jury goes, I think like it's half a dozen of one to the other, really, because like the UK trial just went so bad because the judge had already had these personal connections to the witnesses, and so he felt sympathy for them, where they were actually making up bullshit and they played on his sympathy. And what's going to happen now is that Johnny Depp is now suing again, only in America this time, but it's a civil case. It's liable again, but it's against the actual witness this time, whereas the UK one was against the newspaper. But this time it's against the witness, and she is shitting herself because it's now a jury. She's now not just got, hey, this judge, we know him, he's worked with us, he works with our people, so we're going to get a good wicket. This is 20 people on a jury, and she is shitting bricks. So I think in this particular defamation case, I think this one is going to be easier in America. I love the context too. I sometimes miss the context. Sometimes someone actually has to point the context out to me. But I do love the context as well, Ali. Yeah, he was dropped from the Fantastic Beasts because of the witness and her freaking lies. And I have just stopped being able to read anything on my screen. So bear with me while I get my cold pack out. I need my cold pack. We're losing. I'm starting to overheat. So we're now on 2 hours. That's all I get from my tablet before the screen starts going weird on me. Let's get this cold pack happening now. I'm sorry if you can hear the little beans scrunching. So yes, the Pirates franchise, he was dropped out of that. He was fired from Fantastic Beasts, and I think they were stopping him from using the Jack Sparrow character to entertain children who are dying from what's the word for it? Dying from terminal illnesses. And so that's been like a major issue for him. So yeah, there's a lot of reasons he needs to clear his name. He really does need to clear his name. The problem is she's going down. She is making up shit. Like that court case was horrendous. But anyway, it's going to court in April, and so I am going to do some videos on it as that court case sort of gets closer, like give you all like an update of where we're at just before the court, just before it goes to, and then I'll probably do some informational videos as it's going through court we can do a little speculating whether he's going to win or lose sort of at that time. So because it's a civil case, I don't mind speculating on that. So well, the problem with the publicity in the Johnny Depp case, Jenny, is that they're all believe all women, and this particular woman's lying through her teeth. So they took all of the mainstream media has taken the believe all women approach. The judge took the believe all women approach in the UK, and well, there's been an interesting turn of events in America, because the believe all women thing is starting to fall on its face, and we're back to, hey, how about we have evidence, whether you're a woman or not. So America's just sort of starting to swing back towards that after the ACLU fell on its ass. Hang on, not the ACLU. What's the Believe All organization? I forget the name of it. But she was originally the first one to step down over that stuff. She was the original lawyer for Amber Heard in the Johnny Depp case. So she started you have to believe Amber. She's our spokesperson. She's a woman. You got to believe her. But the problem is there's a lot more evidence that says you can't believe her. So yeah, she's doing some great work on the OSINT stuff, isn't she? And yeah, Clucken, since you're an anti-bloody Prince Charles person, how about you should go watch the stuff that Lost Beyond Pluto is doing on that, because you'll probably love her. I mean, I love her, but I just can't watch the stuff she does on that, because I feel really bad for the boys losing their mum the way that they did, and the way everyone's just fucking leave them alone. Stop it. Thank you. I'm fascinated with it too, and I love the research as well. So it's the one thing that I do every day. I'm always researching. It doesn't matter if it's for my channel or for someone else or for a sick relative looking for alternative remedies, or I do tons of research. Yeah, she's good. Well, thank you, Sack. I'm glad someone appreciates the research I do. I'm glad that it's helping people who are not quite, up there with computer skills, because, that is part of the point. Like, certainly OSINT takes a lot of skill. Like, you pretty much have to be a codes person to do the really deep dives that OSINT people do, the really deep searches, and using the scripts that do all the deep searches that pull all the information together. I hit up someone else to do that stuff for me, because I just don't have, because I'm renovating my home at the moment. I've got everything sort of all packed away, and I just don't have my hands on it. It's all in boxes right now, trying not to get sawdust and crap on it. So I have to sort of hand it off to other people. So what I'm doing here at the moment is just showing you guys just really simple Windows stuff. It's not hard to do sort of stuff. So, and that's part of what keeps it simple. If I showed you the other side, you'd all like switching me off. It'd be like maths, but all too much like maths. It hasn't offended anybody. I just got some haters, that's all. You get them. There's one in every crowd, right? There's always a hater. So I'm doing all right, I got nearly 700 subs and I've got 3 haters. Woo! Those are some good stats. I'm pretty much pleased with that. Yeah, sometimes retaining it's difficult for me too, Amber. The one thing I find it difficult to retain is names of places and names of people. Those things, Like, I can tell you every little detail all the way to the last detail and forget the freaking name. Can't remember who I'm talking about. Yeah, well, hopefully it is logical. Sometimes it's hard for me to stay logical, hey? Because I want to say so much in a single video, and I can't fit it all in, and then I get like all off track, and then I'll just completely delete the video and start again. And if I get to a point where I feel like I'm getting all tied up and I'm going too far in depth into something, then I will just delete the whole thing, and by second attempt it gets more sort of simplified. So so how am I doing with media literacy, Ali? Am I doing all right with it? Just like, I get that I can do the logical walkthrough, but in your expertise, how am I doing with it? Mostly. Exactly, mostly. So you'll never be able to please everyone. No, that's right. You can't please everyone all of the time. And I think Cam gets a little bit tied up with that too, because he's trying to please everyone all of the time. And, you know, I have a shorter fuse, I guess, than he does. So oh, well done. Well, thank you, White Roses. See, I can't see all of the subscribers. If you have it set in your Google account not to show that you're subscribed to, that won't show up in my control panel in my dashboard. So your privacy, if you choose that in your privacy settings on your Google account, then it reflects that on YouTube, and I don't see who's actually subbed. So, but thank you for subbing early. Oh, I got a great logical fallacy video. Different types of logical fallacies. It's so helpful to know them when people are putting out bullshit perspectives. That's exactly right. In fact, I can give you a logical fallacy video to watch later. So, just secretly between all you guys and me, this is a friend of mine who went incognito because of some haters about a month, and kind of like put these videos together. So some of you actually know who that is. Some of you probably worked it out because I'm giving you hints. But anyway, there you go. Go have a look. Man, this screen is really pissing me off because it's not showing me. I can't describe what's going on my screen. Sorry, guys. Just trust me, it's pissing me off. So that link I just posted, save it for later and go watch that video, because that's one of my side projects. When I want to go, you know, really philosophical and over everyone's heads, I'll go over there and do it in cartoon format. So, well, I very much hope that's what they are, to be honest, Sally. But thank you so much. This is your feedback. And continue into adult training. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm glad I've got some media literacy happening there. So that's awesome. So thanks so much. Yeah, and that's exactly the point. Yes, that is exactly what I would like to do is mitigating disinformation and its second cousin misinformation. No worries, Cluckin. Thanks for dropping in. Thanks for coming by again. Love your guts. You know that, don't you? Yeah. Yeah, well, that channel actually gives you a different side of me. That I try not to like go over everybody's heads over here. And I talk about victimization over there. I talk about fatigue, compassion fatigue, and I talk about not to panic when you've been doxxed, how to deal with being doxxed on YouTube. So yeah, there's a few topics over there. Like it's not a huge channel because it's such a huge amount of extra work on top of telling the story that I want to tell. There's such a huge amount of extra work to do an animation that goes with it. So it's very, very time consuming doing it that way. But I'm trying to, Ali will actually get this. If it seems like it's coming from a man, and then the image I'm putting on the screen is like, famous philosopher, then it seems like people listen to it and actually take it on board. Whereas if it just comes from a YouTuber, it's like any old YouTuber, even a female YouTuber, it's less impactful. Like you have more people arguing over the concepts or arguing the points and whatever. So that was sort of the experiment that I was doing with that other account. So I'm pretty sure Ali will get what I mean there. So there is a type of fallacy. Oh no, it's a bias, isn't it, Ali? There's a type of bias that describes why I actually went and did that channel the way I did. I forget the name of the bias, but I'm sure Ali can fill me in. See, I know exactly what I'm talking about, but I forgot the name. For the betterment of the whole, that's right. I'm pretty sure it's a fallacy, or is it a bias? What is it? It's a appeal from authority. That's the fallacy, but I think there's also a bias that's associated with, if it's a well-educated man who's been in or like in Chris M's case, because he's been a detective and whatever, what he says is respected because of his position. It's kind of like it's a type of confirmation bias, Ali, but it's more about to do with the appeal to authority. It's to do with that fallacy. Oh, lovely. All right. I can't see your finished headband. It's beautiful colours. I love the wool that you picked for it. Yeah, it is appeal to authority, right? But I'm sure that there's bias that goes with it. You know what? When I finish the stream and I'm not trying to think of it so hard, it'll jump into my head and I'll go, oh yeah, that bias. But if you have a look in that ethos channel, I've actually got a playlist in there that will take you through all the different types of biases and all the different types of fallacies. And because I've covered a couple of them in that particular video, but I have actually tagged a lot of videos on biases, especially this one that I'm talking about. It's there in that list, in that playlist. So it is definitely that as far as it goes to fallacies, it is definitely an appeal to authority, but there's also bias about looking like an angel, looking like you know what you're talking about. Yeah, it is. Look, I'll try and get it on the screen. I'll tell you what it is because it's bugging me now. Let me get another screen up and I'll tell you what it is. It'll take me a second to find it. Have a look here. I'll probably get there and then realise that, yes, it absolutely was the bias. It absolutely was the appeal to authority. And I just confused myself. But give me one sec. I know I've got a playlist for it here. Hey, oh my God. That took some bloody brain work. You know what? I went looking for it and I remembered it before I actually found the answer. It's called the halo effect. So it's a type of confirmation bias, the halo effect. So there you go. I started playing a game over on Benny's channel, and everyone got right into it because they actually enjoyed, having something participatory to do while we were doing a live stream. So I think I might actually replay the game, start from scratch, get everyone back again, and play the game because it is teaching people about the fallacies and biases and the Dunning-Kruger effect. And it was just an interesting way to go about how we have our own confirmation biases and how they shape making our opinions and theories when we're looking at, true crime sort of cases and stuff. So yeah, Mamma Mia, it's a very philosophy. So it's all very interesting. So the reason I get philosophical is in order for me to get into the international law course that I was studying at Louvain University, I had to do the prerequisite courses. And one of the prerequisite courses was justice at Harvard University. And it covers the philosophy behind justice in the sense of how we got to where we are today, the philosophy behind the types of laws and legislations that we have today. So that was all based on philosophy. And so, yeah, we had to do the Aristotle and we had to do the whole works and remember who they were and what their philosophy was in order to get through that course. So it ended up being, I had to do a long route to get into international law, but it was very interesting because I enjoyed all the types of fallacies and all the types of biases and how they all came about. And yeah, so very interesting. It is interesting. Very, very interesting topic, that one there. As it applies to international law, Ali. So it's about trying to get all the countries that still practice executions to get on board with a more civilized model. And well, I'm not going to point any fingers at any particular countries, but y'all know who I'm talking about, don't you? Dunning-Kruger effect, this means confirmation bias. It's not really, it's only a mind depending on who tells it to you. Like, essentially, Dunning-Kruger effect is how would you rate yourself in your ability to do a particular thing, like drive a car, for example. Let's talk about driving cars. How would you rate yourself as a driver? So put a 1 in the chat if you think you're a pretty driver, or put a 2 in the chat if you think you're pretty shitty, or a 0 if you have no fucking idea what I'm talking about. So sort of start there, and then you don't necessarily have to answer me, incidentally, but how it actually turns out is there's no particular way to tell if someone's actually a good driver or a bad driver, irrespective of how you graded yourself. There's no benchmarks, so to speak, to tell if you're a good driver or a bad driver. And so, yes, that's correct. It's a type of cognitive bias. Sorry, I might have moved too close to the microwave while I was heating up my coffee. So that's right. It's exactly right, Ali. And so, yeah, even though there's no way for us to measure whether actually a good driver or a bad driver, we probably all have a tendency, due to Dunning-Kruger effect, that we're probably all pretty good drivers. You know, it might be in your mind because I haven't had a crash yet. It might be in my mind because no one yells at me when I'm driving, or you know what I mean? Like that's our cognitive bias, like how we would relate to, answering that question. That's to do with our cognitive bias. I'm personally, I'm in the category of people who are generally rate myself lower than I actually am. But most people rate themselves a bit higher than they actually are. But the point to remember with Dunning-Kruger effect is that there's only average. There's only 50%. So if you answered half and half, then you were probably answering as correctly as you absolutely can. Yeah, that is probably actually the very simplest way to explain it, Ali. You're very, very on point there. My mum and grandma say I'm good, so that forms my opinion. Or decision, rather. So, yes, you're on point. Yeah, perhaps. That's what they say in Dunning-Kruger, but sometimes it's lack of confidence as well. So, like in my case, it is lack of confidence. Like, I guess, and part of the game that I've like developed to play online is about first of all saying whether you think you'd be good at something or bad at something, and then we go and do an experiment to see whether you're good or bad at it, and you realize, oh well, you actually weren't, or you actually were. And there's another bias that's anchoring bias. So yeah, it shows you sort of like that you have an anchoring bias, and so people with a low self-esteem probably are anchored to different biases to people who have a high self-esteem, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's a very, very interesting topic, and that's why I wanted to make the game, so that people actually understood this, the way we behave and the way we treat each other online, especially. Which is very much like a fallacy, right, Mamma Mia? I actually didn't know that there was a fallacy, and then until I was actually doing that video, and then I realized, oh my God, there's been a fallacy. So, welcome back. What is your serious question, Clucken? Hit us with your serious question. Yeah. 10 points for overthinking shit, eh? Come on, type faster, clocking. I want to know what your serious question is. And you've also got a 5-second delay behind me, 5 to 10 second delay behind me. So which end are we? Is that the question? Is it? You said it was a serious question. I'll tell you which came first. The clock came first. That's right, Ellie. The scale. Blame the scale. It's not me, man. It's the scale. That's very true. On the topic of cats, actually, I have yet to, like, I need you guys to help me bloody test my Streamlabs out, because I couldn't get it to connect. Last time I tried to connect it, it didn't connect. But I'd already told everyone, come over and watch the live, put the word out. I was like, oh no, I can't connect it. So what I need to do is a test connection to make sure my Streamlabs actually does work. And then you'll start seeing some kitty cats and puppy dogs, and I can even like throw coffees at you and stuff. So we can make this all like a lot more interactive than simply looking at my photo with a little circle around it going bloop bloop. So see, that's my theory, Ali. That's exactly what I'm saying. If they don't cluck, you got no egg, right? They got to attract the rooster first. So or fertilized, Jenny. Scrambled probably doesn't work as well as fertilized if we were talking about the chicken or the egg scenario. All right, so we're getting on to my screen's overheating. It happened a bit quicker today, and I'll tell you why, because I turned the air conditioner off. So we're at the end of the cold season, and it's getting, I've got days that are cold and I've got the heater on, days that are hot when I have the air conditioning on, and it's it's all over the shop like a rash. And so when I haven't got the air conditioner on, my screen's heating up a little bit faster. So, and I turned it off so that you didn't hear it humming in the background, which happens as well. So Schrodinger's cat. No, I don't know if we want to talk about Schrodinger's cat. I think we already lost half a dozen viewers just on the fallacies and biases. It went just a little bit too deep. But anyway, that's the reason I want to play the game, so that people who feel that it's too deep actually get a little bit of an understanding by playing and doing an interactive testing yourself and understanding yourself a little bit more. You sort of you understand it without getting too deep. It's sort of that's the idea of the bias game that I invent. But well, I didn't really invent it all by myself. I kind of went and grabbed a whole bunch of different videos where people are doing this sort of stuff and bunged it all together into the one and sort of made my own game out of it. So but yeah, so we might do that in the next live. We might actually make it a let's play biases and fallacies in the next live. So there's a little bit of watching videos that I've put into the game, and there's a little bit of interaction in giving us your answers. Too hot for my knickers. No, I actually got a bogus bloody Surface Pro. So the model that I got did have a recall on it, but I didn't get the memo until after the recalls expired, until after my warranty expired. So now give me a recall. So yeah, I just got to keep sticking it on a cold pack. Yeah, it is. That's what it is, Ali. It's like a team building activity. So what I'll do is I'll post it up, a day or two beforehand so that everyone's got plenty of notice to come and do it. And I think the majority of my viewers are Americans, so I might do it sort of around the same time that we just started this one. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I only got halfway through it and Benny started losing his shit. He couldn't actually be serious for another hour. So it all got out of control and he was like, nah, got to go. So we only got halfway through the game. So yeah, we might just start it again and do it on my channel, and then we can, play the whole thing from start to end. I actually thought it was only going to take an hour. But we got halfway through the game and yes, it took us an hour to get there. But there was a lot of funny shit going on too. Like when you start playing a game, people get into a good mood and you have all these little side tracks along the way. Wow, that's interesting. You're going to have to for some whiteboard sessions for us then. That would be awesome, Ali. Like definitely in the area that you studied, that would be freaking awesome. Because, at the end of the day, we're YouTubers, but we're also media. And what we're doing is we're putting mainstream media out of business because we're able to, go and create our own news now. We're putting them out of business. And so we need to have more, we need to take more responsibility with what we're saying because we are the new media. So yeah, it would be awesome if you would come up and do some facilitated some whiteboard sessions with us. It would be bloody fantabulous. My Mensa is shut when you do. I'm not following what you mean. Make sure this audience is free. Here's the thing, White Roses, that I haven't got any crappy audiences because I just mute them on. If they type stupid comments on my videos, then they get muted. So that's why I don't have a crappy audience right now. So yeah, so will you do that for us, Ali? That would be bloody awesome. Exactly. That's right. Everyone is a brand. Like especially on YouTube, you are a brand, and people come along and go, well, let me have an opinion on your comments. Then you're violating my free speech. Well, it's not your free speech. I'm not the government. That free speech only applies to, as far as the Constitution's First Amendment goes, the Constitution applies to the government. It doesn't apply to me on YouTube. I am not your government. And so you don't get free speech on my channel. You get what I say goes because it's my brand, because it reflects on me what you type on my channel. All right. I thought you were talking about that, actually. I was wondering, was that a typo or did you actually mean Mensa? Okay. But yes, it's a great idea. Let's do something like that as well. I can develop something like that. I'm sure Ali can do something like that for us, actually. But because she seems to be into the whole developing it stuff. Like, seriously, the bias game took me a lot of brain work and a lot of strain to put it together. And I was only able to put it together but other people had already done. So I had a sort of a general idea of what to do and how to go about it. So maybe we can invite Ali Cattails to come up and do a Mensa one for us, maybe. Yes, I understand it was a compliment. Sorry, I just wasn't sure if it was a type, but I get it was a compliment now. But the IQ test is actually a good thing to play with. You can certainly make a game out of it and learn something about yourself doing it. So, yeah. Yes, it's my channel. Do as I say. You don't get freedom of speech here. It's not a government. It's not a democracy. It's my brand. So, and this is something that Cam and I discussed early in the piece when we were talking about, how to do mod management and stuff like that. We were talking about that, like, people coming in to type their comments and have an opinion, and there's too many YouTubers making allowances for people their chats and trying to turn it into a democracy. And like I get what they're saying, like they're used to dealing with the media, and then so far as the media is concerned, then there is a certain amount of free speech that applies to how they operate within the guidelines of their government. There is a certain amount of that applies. But when we go to read the Sun newspaper, for example, we're not signing a terms of service agreement. We're just picking up a newspaper, we're buying it, and we're doing what the hell we want with it. Whereas on YouTube, we're signing a terms of service agreement so that we can build a brand and use their services to build our brand. And so this is not a democracy. This is we agree to YouTube's terms, and YouTube is not our government. It's not your government. It's not my government. YouTube says, here's the services. You can use them to build your brand. And as far as my brand goes, you don't get a say over what my brand is. That's all there is to it. I mean, I can take on board what my viewers want. I'm certainly happy to do that. And if my viewers make a suggestion, will you talk about this? Will you talk about that? Sure, I'll do that, but I'll do it my way and in a way that suits my brand. I'm sure you are that smart, but it does take a lot of brain to make a game that's like entertaining, but using a concept like that, it is a lot of brain work. Like I said, it broke mine just doing the bias game. Well, I hope you do start a channel. That would be awesome, Ali. I think wow, you've got so much, like, in just that stuff that you studied, there's so much you can learn us. Well, you know what? For me, it probably would be my spelling that let me down. Because I have dyslexia. So, I'm a software engineer and I'm into law studies, and I don't think I'm not clever. However, I am shocking at typing. Like, do you understand how hard it is to be a software engineer and write code when every word that you type is a spelling error? Like, it makes troubleshooting my code a freaking headache, because I can see the word on the screen, but it's dyslexia, like the words, all the letters are there, they're just in the wrong order. And so the code doesn't recognize this word. It's a new word as far as the computer's concerned. And I'm looking at it going, isn't that how I spelled it? I'm sure that's how I spelled it. So I have to go through my code and copy and paste my keywords so that I don't do that shit and trip myself up and spend hours troubleshooting something I don't need to troubleshoot. It's shocking. Well, you're more than guests, but because I'm not monetized, yes, you're my guests. But if I was monetized and you were sending me money, then you're probably a little bit more than guests. You probably get a little bit more of a say over what's happening, you know what I mean? So I'm not going to monetize, by the way, guys. I know some of you want me to and would like to contribute that way, but I'm not going to monetize. What I will do, Bart, is I'll let you buy me a coffee occasionally. So there's always the buy me a coffee link. Quite happy to drink a lot of freaking coffee. So let me put the coffee link up for you. I have been pasting the copy link into my description boxes. So if there's ever a time you want to do that, you just have to look in the description box, follow the link, and it takes you to the buy me a coffee page. Okay, I will make the game my next live. I promise. I've been promising it for ages, so now I do promise. I'll set it up as soon as this live's done and I've got my battery back, because I'm running out of battery power as well. And as soon as I plug the power in, it heats my screen up even faster. So as soon as I got all that shit organized, I will post a link for it so that none of us forget, and I'll make it for, say, the day after tomorrow. I'm gonna make it for tomorrow. Actually, I'm on a good wicket right now, so I've got some time, so I'll make it for tomorrow. There you go. That's what I actually thought it was. I hadn't heard of it before, Mamma Mia, but that was what I was thinking it was, something just like that. Yeah, it's sort of dyslexia to do with math. Well, that's part of it, Jenny. Part of it is because YouTube's just like ridiculously big cut. The Buy Me a Coffee page is all mine. Like, they take nothing from that at all. But because it's going through my PayPal account, they take a little bit, which is still nowhere near as much as YouTube takes. So yes, I am absolutely keen. All right, I'm running out of stuff to say now, and my screen just keeps going blurry, so it's really hard for me to read what you guys are saying. So it's time for me to end the stream. Thank you all for joining me. Thank you for making Cam and Ali feel welcome and sending a love out to them. Thank you to my mods, if I had any mods in here. Hi, Kez Chicks. Sorry, we're hanging up already. You only just got here. But yeah, so I will make the game stream as soon as my tablet has recharged and I can get back in there and set it all up, and I'll make it for tomorrow. And appreciate you all coming by. Talk to you tomorrow.